welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society of Schenectady. I'm the Reverend Lynn Gardner, and this is Reverend Wendy Bartel. We serve as co-ministers here. If you are new here this morning, we offer you an especially warm welcome. We are so glad that you are here on this first Sunday of 2026. And because we haven't met those of you who are new, we will let you know that my pronouns are she, her, or they, them. And for Wendy, it is better to avoid he, she, or they and just use Wendy's name, as that is the best fit when referring to Wendy.
And let us connect with a sense of gratitude that we've made our way to this circle, to our Zoom sanctuary. We have been given this day to make it what we will. Let's choose to make the most of it together. Happy Gregorian New Year.
As we looked back on this past year, on 2025, we were reminded that things happened in the life of this congregation over those 12 months. There was a lot that happened. And while there were a lot of things going on in the larger world, we could see that some of the ways that folks here at UUSS worked together for justice, practiced compassion, and celebrated with joy, just as the congregation's mission calls us to do. And Wendy has a big bag, and this big bag is holding some of the memories of 2025. For instance, you have a little bit of time to look. There we go. For instance, in January, members of the UU the Vote team, there's a little UU the Vote button, and other volunteers who helped attended the UUA Good Trouble Congregation celebration. That event acknowledged UUSS as one of about 50 congregations across the whole country that organized for voting rights and helped voters get to the polls in the 2024 election by writing postcards and letters, phone calls, text banking, registering voters, serving as poll workers and election observers, and more. Some people right here, if I remember right, painted vote on stones. Yes? To put those around. With so many threats to our democracy, it was important to recommit to future work together too. And then in February, there was a fantastic Valentine's game night. And the dining room was full of folks playing games, throwing cards, connecting, and enjoying one another's company. Also in February, we had our Common Read event. Each year, our denomination chooses a book and invites all Unitarian Universalists who want to read the book together. And people are reading and discussing the same book. The Rainbow Connections team offered a class that started last February. It was on that book called Authentic Selves, Celebrating Trans and Non-Binary People and Their Families. 27 folks from the congregation participated in that 4-session class. Now, when the Common Read was chosen the year before, we had no idea how necessary and timely that would be in February of 2025. Yeah. And then in March, you might remember, in March, the music team hosted a coffee house and dessert auction with music and delicious treats. Yeah, delicious treats, great music. Also in March, UU Schenectady hosted the annual worship service that happens with 5 UU congregations in our Hudson Mohawk region: Glens Falls, Albany, Kingston, Saratoga Springs, and Schenectady. There was a joint choir. The choir filled up this section. It was awesome. There was a joint choir. Reverend Mary Catherine Morn, president and lead executive of the UU Service Committee, was our worship leader. And there were fabulous hands-on activities for kids exploring our UU values. In April, we celebrated Earth Day and Easter and had an egg hunt in the back garden. It's orange. It's a big bag with a lot of things. It's an egg hunt. Sorry. Yay! The egg hunt in April was in the back garden. There was a little bit less snow on that day. But there have been Easters when there is snow on Easter and Earth Day. Yeah. And then in May, the coming of age service, we had where the coming of age class, this is the curriculum for the coming of age program that we do every other year here. The class members presented their credos, their understanding of who they are, what they believe, and what matters to them. And in May, at the congregational meeting, the board shared that they had voted to use some of the congregation's resources to support people in need of temporary housing, people who are fleeing from oppressive government conditions in other states, and that the Preparedness Task Force was beginning the work to make that happen. And we're so close. They are so close because there were so many hoops to jump through to have that happen. But it started back in May. Sometimes good things are worth working for many months or years. And then in June, we acknowledged and celebrated those who were moving from youth to young adulthood at our bridging service, giving each of them a chalice. And then the membership team helped welcome 12 new members. We also had new members welcomed in the fall. And in June, we also celebrated the flower communion, where everyone brings flowers and brings a different one home. In July, there was a summer potluck with more games. And in July and August, your board of trustees met for retreat sessions to prepare for this year's annual focus of ministry, open questions, and goals. Now, that's all a bunch of governance stuff. And that's an important thing that happens. And sometimes UUSS is also a place for important rites of passage, like weddings, child dedications, or celebrations of life. And almost all of those make me cry, so we have tissues. All but 1 month last year, all but 1 month included at least one significant ritual. There were a lot of goodbyes. There were a lot of celebrations of love and connections. There were a lot of tissues. In August, there was a beautiful wedding in the back garden. And then in September, religious education classes started, including 3 different age groups of OWL, or Our Whole Lives. These sexual and reproductive health curricula are factual, developmentally appropriate, body positive, and can be life-saving. We are so grateful for the facilitators and all of those who participate. In October, We said goodbye to H.B. Stedham, our past director of Lifespan Religious Education. Also in October, dozens of folks from UUSS participated in No Kings protests. Actually, there were 3 of them throughout the year. If you attended at least one of those No Kings protests last year, can you raise your hand? Yeah. Our social justice action team, among other groups, encouraged folks and supported folks in participating. Also in October, the board hosted open questions events considering how to help the congregation flourish into the next 125 years and how to stay curious and engaged with one another and with our neighbors in these difficult times. In November, the Survive and Thrive team hosted this year's UUA Common Read on social justice ecosystems, and we had a bread communion service where a dozen bakers brought delicious bread to share along with the story of their connections with the recipe. It was delicious and nourishing and and um and there's no bread to put in the bag because we ate it all. In December, there was a joyful holiday hangout with crafts and a sing along co organized by the music team and the staff team with lots of volunteers helping us make beautiful holiday things, and Maria leading us, lifting our voices in song. And drum roll, please. In December, the DLRE hiring team, Kendra Sena, Emra Gaveji, Carolyn Griffith, and Ernie Hall, were so pleased to offer our position of Director of Lifespan Religious Education to Jamie Gargano.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Jamie Gargano. I use she, her pronouns. I am a Spanish teacher, a religious educator. I'm a parent of a lovely 13-year-old daughter. And I'm super excited to be a part of this congregation. And I look forward to working with families, staff, and the ministers. So thank you.
Yeah. Here. And we are, oh, right. There's the ornament. It was at the bottom. Yep. We are so glad to have Jamie be joining our staff team and our Lifespan Religious Education program. Please take time to say hello to her after the service or in the coming days and weeks.
The center portion of our service today is inspired by our colleagues, the Reverend Molly House-Gordon and the Reverend Erica Hewitt, and will be structured in 3 parts: remember, release, and resolve. Our story has helped us to remember some of the highlights of the past year. You can probably think of some others. You might also remember some hard stuff, some terrible stuff, some struggles, some losses, times when we came together in grief or held it on our own. Today, as we lean into a new year, we take time to remember and recognize that we are actually held in this circle of care and this circle of change. We remember. First, we remember a year that has been another difficult one around the world. It has also been full of growth and good, struggle and beauty, as human life always is. So we take a moment now as we begin 2026 to bring to our mind a few moments of the strengths and challenges from this year now past. We have traveled across these 12 months and have had a variety of experiences. If you were to open a bag of items symbolizing this past year, you would likely find some different things than were shared earlier. Or if you were to map the journey of your year, you might name different metaphorical or actual destinations than we might. It's possible that you don't want to remember, don't want to face the heartache again. This is reasonable, especially if you have already done the healing work around it. However, if you have been avoiding that, maybe receive this opportunity to simply remember, holding the memories and your own heart with tenderness in this circle of care. And another type of remembering is that you are always at choice about where to place your attention and your energy. So, as I invite you into a time of remembering, as I read this meditation from our colleague, the Reverend Victoria Safford, you make the best choices for you that support your heart, that support your growth. If a particular line doesn't bring up a memory, simply let it float on past and trust that it does for someone else in the circle. And if you want to linger in a particular place for longer, just let the next line drift on by. These words are meant to accompany you on your own journey to remember. The images are just metaphors, the ones that we'll show on the screen, a symbol of the inner places and external places that we may have journeyed this year. Reverend Safford begins. Here is where I found my voice and chose to be brave. Here's a place where I forgave someone against my better judgment, and I survived that. And unexpectedly, amazingly, I became wiser. Here's where I was once forgiven, was ready for once in my life to receive forgiveness and to be transformed. And I survived that also. I lived to tell the tale. This is the place where I said no more loudly than I'd thought I ever could. And everybody stared, but I said no loudly anyway because I knew it must be said. And those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling. And over me, they had no power anymore. Here's a time, and here's another, when I laid down my fear and walked right on into it, right up to my neck, into that roiling water. Here's where cruelty taught me something. And here's where I was first astonished by gratuitous compassion and knew it for the miracle it was, the requirement it is. It was a trembling time. And here, much later, is where I returned the blessing clumsily. It wasn't hard, but I was unaccustomed. It cycled round, and as best I could, I sent it back on out, passed the gift along. This circular motion around and around has no apparent end. Here's a place, a murky puddle, where I have stumbled more than once and fallen in. I don't know yet what to learn there. On this site, I was outraged, and the rage sustains me still. It clarifies my seeing. And here's where something caught me, a warm breeze in late winter, birdsong in late summer. Here's where I was told that something was wrong with my eyes, that I see the world strangely. And here's where I said, yes, I know. I walk in beauty. Here is where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. Here is where, as if by surgeon's knife, my heart was opened up. And here, and here, and here, and here, and here. These are the landmarks of conversion.
How would you mark the year that has passed? As we continue to remember, I invite you to join me in a time of opening ourselves to that which is larger than any one of us on our own. You might choose to close your eyes or allow your gaze to soften. You might notice your breath as we settle into this present moment. This amazing breath that on many days just continues breathing us without our attention. We know that hard things have happened to people in this circle this week, or in circles of the people in this circle, and definitely in the wider circle of humanity. We harness our energy now for one another's care, for healing and peace in the midst of loss, illness, grief, confusion, and war. We know that wonderful and beautiful things have happened to and through people in this congregation and in the wider circle of humanity. This morning, we offer thanks for small kindnesses, for the large and small ways that our lives are touched with beauty, care, friendship, and joy. We offer some time for our own internal prayers. And if you aren't sure how to do that, or if you want to do that, perhaps just repeat in your mind, "Let there be peace in me. Let there be peace in you. Let there be peace everywhere." Or perhaps just allow the memories of the past year to well up and wash over you as we share some quiet time together. As we continue to reflect and remember the year that has just ended, Let us bring ourselves even more fully into this time of remembering, release, and resolve. We invite you into a ritual of stones and water. In a few moments, you'll be invited to move to one of the two tables available. One is here at the center bottom, and one is in the middle of the back of the top circle behind the tech deck. During this time of remembering, hard or painful stuff may come up, imagining the burdens of your heart lightened as you drop a glass stone into the water, for you are held in this circle of compassion. And during this time of remembering, wonderful memories may have come to your consciousness. And in a few moments, you'll be invited forward, imagining the delight of your heart multiplied as you drop a glass stone into the jars. For you are celebrated within this circle of joy. For those in the room, you are welcome to choose the table that you would like to go to. Choose a glass stone representing any of the hopes, losses, celebrations, or fears that you bring with you this morning, and drop one stone into the vase, which represents the embrace of this community. Thanks to Robin and Stephanie, who are members of the worship team, for their caring presence during this ritual. For those on Zoom, you are welcome to drop a stone in your own container of water. We will begin this ritual by dropping a stone on behalf of those who aren't physically present today. While all of those who wish to take part in this ritual of remembering are moving, our wonderful music director, Maria Elmer, will play the song Green by UU musician Peter Mayer. And before you get up, you might want to check and see if anyone near you who might find movement a bit more challenging, if they would like a stone dropped on their behalf. Let us begin.
The new year calls us forward, filled with mystery. As we turn toward that new year, we take a final glimpse of the past year and reckon with all that it has held for us. On your way in, the ushers offered you blank white paper and possibly a writing implement. Would you find that blank white slip of paper, not the logo marbled paper, the white slip of blank paper and a writing implement, or prepare to share your writing implement with a neighbor nearby? For those online, find your paper and pen or other writing implement. And this paper and this pen or writing implement has a moment of just thinking of this year just past. And in that year, considering what you might leave behind today, burning it brightly so that it changes form and disappears. What parts of your life, of our lives, what things, ideas, people, ways of living have become obstacles to your becoming, to our becoming, the people we want to be, the people we need to be? What's holding you back? What's getting in the way of you living as fully as you'd like to? What might you like to burn away? What do you want to relinquish? Write a word or two or a whole sentence if your handwriting is small enough on that blank white paper. Nobody's going to see it except you, the flames of the fireplaces, and the universe. And when you're ready, You want to fold it or wad it up into a ball, whichever feels right to you. And look around and seeing if anyone else needs your pen or marker. Just look around and hand it. No need to talk. Just gather and look. If vision is not available to you and you're sitting next to that person, pay attention. See if they need it or if they would like to write something down that you could write for them. And in a few moments, you will be invited to make your way to one of the fireplaces on either side of the Great Hall. Again, please notice if someone near you might appreciate you taking their paper to the fire. You will be met by our fire keepers, LB Hannahs, on the welcome side of the table, Great Hall, and Jeff Lundy on the piano side. You can either gently toss your piece of paper into the flames or you can give it to the fire keepers who will burn it on your behalf. No need to talk. You will just hand it to them. They're happy to do it. In your own mind, you might say, I release you. So let us enter this ritual with quiet contemplation, knowing that for some people, this release is very tender. And others, it is, thank God I'm letting this go. Because we are always living in those complicated places. You can share the stories during social hour or come and share with us after the service if you'd like. Please be careful. Parents, please decide how best your kids will participate safely if you have them with you. And for those of you on Zoom, if you have a fireplace or a safe way to burn your paper at home, go for it. If you do not, you can send a private message to Kristen Cleveland, who will write what you are releasing on a piece of paper, and we will burn it for you. Or if you prefer to keep it private, we encourage you to find a way to release this paper that works for you. Let us begin. Find your way to a fireplace.
If the past year held joy and growth for you, may that sweetness continue to bless you. If the past year held pain and despair, may you be relieved of those burdens by knowing that you are not alone. May this community help hold and sustain you, that you may feel renewed for the journey ahead. Let us look to the new with hope, with curiosity about its many unknowns, and with faith in our strength to navigate it with grace.
And we move now into resolve. As we mark the turning of the year, we have engaged in remembering the past. We've engaged in letting go of that which no longer serves us. And now we are turn our attention to this present moment and the future that is longing to become real. For some of us, we make lists or resolutions, and other of us have given up that practice, knowing full well that in 10 days or less, we will have made no progress or abandoned the efforts to make that change. So why bother? Yeah, we know. And still, yesterday, many of us learned that we live in a country where the president continues to ignore the Constitution and the rule of law and authorizes the U.S. military to capture the president of another sovereign nation and bring them to the U.S. with the intent to take over their government until some vague goals are met. This is likely bringing up lots of feelings and questions in some of you. I know it is for us. So in this moment, I want to get clear on who I am and the world I want to live in. I'm a person that wants to center love, to ground my life in justice, to find a way to make peace among us a way to have compassion and to recognize the interdependent web of life, which we are just a tiny part. And sometimes what that looks like is when I breathe in peace. And when I breathe out love. And sometimes what that means is setting strong and firm and direct boundaries around covenantal behavior and right speech. And sometimes it means taking to the streets and speaking truth to power, being willing to lean into discomfort because the structures we all thought were in place to keep executive power in check aren't effective if Congress and the courts collude and or refuse to do what they're supposed to do. In J.R.R. Tolkien's book, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first book in the series of The Lord of the Rings, there's a hobbit character named Frodo and a wizard character named Gandalf, who has a fondness for hobbits, particularly this hobbit. Frodo is portrayed as a simple hobbit, but also curious. He's been part of important things in the Shire. And with an attempt to avoid spoilers just in case, on hearing of difficult things from Gandalf, the wizard, Frodo said, "I wish it need not have happened in my time." And Gandalf responds, "So do I. And so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide," continued Gandalf. "All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. So let us decide what to do with that time that is given us. Let us resolve to live with love at our center. To really do what that means, we will need one another. Because together, we have what we need to tend to what is happening and to tend to our spirits, not one of us, not one team, not one board, not one minister, not one staff person, not one savior, but all of us showing up for and with one another and doing what we can and being who we are and who we are called to be. And building relationships with others who share our values. There's a lot more to say here, but for now, I think Prentice Hemphill, the author of What It Takes to Heal and How Transforming Ourselves Can Change the World, articulates a beautiful summary for what this moment is calling for from us. They write, "Tender enough to feel, present enough to witness, humble enough to listen, courageous enough to act, accountable enough to change." In a few moments, you're going to be asked to reflect on your own resolve, who you resolve to be, what you resolve to do. Maybe it is choosing a singular word or a short phrase to focus on today, this week, this month, maybe even this year. Maybe it's a short quote that reminds you you are not alone. Maybe it is an affirmation that still in winter there is green. Maybe it's a song lyric. We resist, we refuse to let hatred in. We turn to this new year with hearts centered on all we would create and all that we would love into being. We share this blessing by Elaine Kazia called Here I Am. And I want you to be listening for your resolve and what you will write on that paper.
May my wisest self guide me through this day. May my wisest self remind me to look through eyes of wonder and see the abundant beauty of here and now. To live from my toes up, grounded on this precious earth and in this miraculous body. to open my heart, flinging wide its shutters so no defenses cut me off, to employ my hands to create beauty, to soothe suffering, to unlock potentials, eyes, feet, hands, heart. From here, I can wake to my life and the gift that is. From here, I can move through my day with simple ease. From here, I can spread compassion and love. From here, I can mend the world. May I be in harmony today with the current that flows through all. And may I be a faithful expression of this sacred source. Here I am. Let us now take a moment to center ourselves in our intentions. And we invite you to think of a word or phrase that will be a touchstone for your intentions for 2026. And you can write or even draw that if it fits. And for those at home, you're invited to write your own word on an index card or post-it note or paper. You might carry this in your wallet or stick it on your fridge or tape it to a mirror or put it on your dashboard or bedside table to be a constant reminder of your intention, your hope, your aspiration, your resolve for 2026. Together, may we resolve to love, to heal, grow, and love some more. May our resolve and our actions that follow bring more love, courage, compassion, justice, and joy to the world.